Jace Tunnell here with the Mission Aransas Research Reserve at the University of Texas Marine Science Institute. And today I'm going to be talking to you about stuff that we find on the beach. And it's the ultimate beachcombing. So many of y'all know that we do surveys for sea turtles, either nesting or stranded. We also count birds on the beach. If there's any marine mammals, we try to get samples of them and send that off to the appropriate people to age them and all that. But this is a rack here whenever we find debris on the beach that we bring back and we sell for the Amos Rehabilitation Keep to be able to make money for the sea turtles and the birds. And so once a year we have a big fundraiser on all the stuff that we find. And so we actually find stuff that gives rewards and stuff too. So like research equipment. You can look at this one right here. We found 3 of these over the last few months, but we're going to end up turning these back in. This is a research buoy, and there's a reward to be able to turn this back into Woods Hole Group. It's located in Richmond, Texas, and these are data sondes that float around in the ocean and collect different types of data. And they come with there's usually a really long rope attached to them and a float. And the rope is, 100 feet long or something like that. And they're real light on one end and heavy on the other. And so that way they're able to stay suspended in the way that's able to help it collect the information it needs. So we found 3 of those. We're gonna end up turning those back in. The reward is, I don't know, probably 25 or 50 bucks. But all of this other stuff you see, we have in-person live auction, and then also we set a lot of this stuff out where people can just come through and buy it in bulk. And we usually make a couple $1,000, and every penny that is earned really does go to help the sea turtles and birds. Now, one thing that you might see is you might think, wow, maybe this is a light or something like that, because it kind of looks like a light. But this is actually a buoy that has a beacon, and it emits information to a fisherman that will be able to track it. And these are attached to what they call fish aggregation devices, so FAD. Anything floating out there in the ocean will attract fish and stuff like that around it, right? Well, these, if you see like big pallets that are floating in, sometimes they're made of metal, sometimes of PVC, but they'll have a netting and usually have floats and stuff like that all inside that netting to keep it buoyant. And then they have ropes and sometimes nets that hang off of it. And then this will be attached to it. And so this, you can see, if you look inside of there, you can see kind of looks like motherboards and stuff like that. It has lights whenever you turn it on, and lots of times these will have a magnet on them where you can take that magnet off, you can swipe it over the top of this bell here, and it will turn it on or turn it off. And that's how they turn. But now this one's got like algae and barnacles and stuff growing all over it. Now these we typically sell for like 10 bucks, so it's not like you can get any money off of these. We do record, there is a number that's on here. We send that over to the folks at Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission, and they monitor where these are coming from. A lot of them come from like West Africa, so they float all the way from West Africa over to here. Some of the other cool things we find is like bumpers. So we've got these big bumpers that are made of rope that big ships have on the side of their boat, so they don't rub up against the dock and stuff. And so we find some of those. We've got a couple of them that we have, so we'll be selling those. Big light fixtures. Look at this huge light. So we'll end up selling that. We do find a lot of stuff that people leave at the beach. That doesn't usually sell that good. Lots of shrimp buckets. I mean, these like laundry basket looking things. So what the fishermen put their bycatch in. We find a lot of that. These buoys that go on either crab traps or other types of fishing, we find a lot of that. And one of the things you'd be surprised at that sell really good are these styrofoam floats. So we put a rope in here and we'll put 6 on there and sell them for 25 bucks. So people like to hang them on their fence, you know, decoration, stuff like that. This time of year, and this is November, we find a lot of the duck decoys. And so for whatever reason, people leave them out there whenever they're duck hunting, and they go out the inlets and into the Gulf, and then they wash back up on the beaches. And so, you know, we'll find lots of these ducks and stuff like that floating up. One of the interesting things that we find, and we find a few of these every year, is one of these buoys. These buoys are super heavy, they're dense, and it says 3,000 M max. And these things go down to 3,000 meters, so 3 kilometers down in the ocean. And so they're really dense and heavy. I'd say this probably weighs, you know, 30 pounds or something like that. And they use them for oil and gas industry. And so we find some of those. These monkey's fist, these are ropes that have a big knot, a cool looking knot on them. And they use these, let me see if I can take it off here. They use these to be able to add onto big ropes that they're trying to get onto the dock. And they'll throw this so that the rope actually makes it onto the dock, and then somebody can get it and then tie off their ship from that. But, you know, this is just one of the cool things that we find. And it makes for real good photos whenever you get real up close to it. So let's see what else we got here. And you know, we have a problem when northerns come in, all this stuff flies all over the place. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to try to organize some of this so it doesn't fly away and it stays here, because tomorrow we have a cold front coming in. Another thing we find, and some people like this, no, this isn't a snow shovel. This is a shovel that comes off of a shrimp boat, and we find lots of these, especially during shrimping season. So we also find life preservers, a bunch of life vests. This is a paddle boat that goes to a life boat. You know, some of these ships have lifeboats on them. Same with some of the oil rig platforms out there. And so we end up finding a bunch of those types of things. So I'm here at the Amos Rehabilitation Keep at the university. This is where we store this stuff to be able to help raise money for the ARC. And we usually do that in March every year. So if y'all are interested in that, watch our Facebook page. We'll do a post on it. And hopefully this March you can come purchase some of this stuff to be able to help the ARC and the animals. Okay, with that, we'll talk to you next time. Thanks. Bye.